Welcome back to Rugby Obsession, the podcast for everyone who just can't get enough of the game. If you're loving these deep dives, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Today we're going to be looking ahead to the 2025 Six Nations, and we've got this awesome article from Rugby Pass with some pretty bold predictions. It's got me pumped already.
Yeah, the article is really interesting because it suggests that the usual pecking order might be about to change. For years, Ireland has been the team to beat, but there are signs that their dominance might be fading.
Okay, so let's break this down. The article mentions Ireland's aging squad as a potential factor. Their average age is over 2019 or 17. That's a lot of rugby miles. Do you think experience alone is going to be enough to keep them at the top this time around?
Well, I think if you look at the bigger picture, it's not just about age, it's about the lack of obvious replacements for some of their key players. You've got guys like Tad Furlong, Peter O'Mahony, Tad Hegburney, all absolutely crucial for Ireland, but all over 30. And then when you look at positions like scrum half, Gibson Park and Murray are both in their 30s as well. So it raises the question, do they have the depth to compete at the highest level for another Six Nations?
That's a great point. And the article really highlights the impact of someone like Peter O'Mahony's absence on the lineout. When he's not there, their lineout retention rate drops from 91% down to 82%. That is huge. And obviously that translates to fewer tries on those lineout drives. For any listeners who might not know, the lineout's that set piece where teams compete for the ball after it's thrown in. O'Mahony's like the conductor orchestrating it all, and without him, things can get messy.
Exactly. A successful lineout is all about timing coordination and everyone knowing their role. O'Mahony just brings that level of expertise, and it's not easy to find someone to replace that. And then you've got Jacques Nienaber coming in as Leinster's new coach. He's got a reputation for building incredibly strong defenses, but there's a bit of debate about whether his style might actually end up stifling Ireland's attack.
That's where things get really interesting for me. Could this move towards a more defensive style actually backfire for Ireland in the long run? I don't know. It's kind of like choosing to build a fortress rather than sharpening your swords.
What do you think, listeners? Are you as intrigued by this as I am? If you are and you're hungry for more rugby insights like this, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Rugby Obsession family.
So moving on to France, the article really dives into their unique style of play, which is very much built around defense and the brilliance of Antoine Dupont. Oh yeah, Dupont is a magician on the field. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He conducts the French attack like an orchestra, and then you've got that lethal back three with Panot and Bielbiari just waiting to pounce on any turnover. But the article also mentions that their turnover rate has actually been declining. Do you think that could be a problem for them? Could it affect their defensive dominance?
That's the big question. Their game plan is like a well-oiled machine, but what happens when one of the cogs starts to slip? They're so good at forcing errors and capitalizing on those turnovers. So if they're not winning that battle as effectively, it could expose some vulnerabilities.
Yeah, it's like taking away a spider's web, so that suddenly they're not quite as dangerous. And then to make things even more interesting, there are rumors about defense coach Sean Edwards' future with the team. Even though he's been so successful with them, it sounds like his position might be uncertain.
It definitely adds another lot of uncertainty. Edwards has been the architect of their defensive strength, so if he were to leave, it would be a huge change for them. I guess the big question is, can they adapt to all these changes and still be one of the favorites for the tournament? So let's move on to a team that's often labeled the bridesmaids of the Six Nations. Scotland. They've come close, but can they finally win the whole thing?
Yeah, Scotland, always the underdog, eh? Always there or thereabouts, but never quite getting over the line. But this article from Rugby Pass is saying they might have what it takes this time. What makes you think they're ready to take that next step?
Well, one thing that's interesting about Scotland is that they've been building a system that's starting to rival Ireland's in terms of attack. For a long time, they were seen as playing a similar style to Ireland, but just not as effective.
Right, like a sort of budget version of the Irish attack.
Exactly. But now the article highlights how their attacking game might actually be overtaking Ireland's. Especially after that impressive win against Australia back in November, they absolutely dismantled the Wallabies with speed and precision and creativity. It was a real statement performance.
Yeah, that match got everyone talking. But we got to address the elephant in the room here. Sion Tuipulotu's injury is a massive blow for them. Can they maintain that attacking momentum without him?
That's the big question, isn't it? Tuipulotu's a world-class player, but I think it's important to remember that Scotland's strength lies in their collective. They've got a system that allows different players to step up and fill those gaps. Think of it like a jazz band. They know how to improvise and create magic even when one of their key instruments is missing.
Love that analogy.
Yeah.
And the article does point out some other positive signs for Scotland, too, like their much improved scrum and a very stable line-out.
Absolutely. Those are the foundations of a championship-winning team. They're not just about flashy attacks anymore. They're winning the battle up front, controlling the set pieces. It shows they've matured as a team and are ready to compete on all fronts.
And here's a fun fact that might just give Scottish fans goosebumps. Their last Six Nations title was way back in 1999. And guess who was playing for them back then? Current coach Gregor Townsend. Could history repeat itself? The article even suggests they could win the championship with a victory in Paris in the final round, just like in '99. What a story that would be.
Would be a fairy tale ending for Scottish rugby, wouldn't it? And that's what's so exciting about Scotland, their potential. They've been steadily improving, and this could be the year they finally realize it. Imagine the celebrations in Edinburgh if they lift that trophy. It would be incredible.
Speaking of incredible rugby moments, if you're loving this deep dive into the Six Nations, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the Rugby Obsession community. We've got loads more insightful content coming your way throughout the tournament and beyond.
So we've talked about Ireland and France and Scotland, but we can't forget about the other contenders. England might be struggling at the moment, but you can never write them off. They've got a habit of peaking at the right time, and the Six Nations always brings out their fighting spirit.
Yeah, England always seemed to find a way to make things interesting. And then there's Wales, a team desperate to bounce back after a couple of disappointing years. They've got Warren Gatland back as coach, a proven winner, and a squad full of young talent hungry to make their mark.
Wales are definitely a team you can never underestimate. They've got that incredible passion and resilience, and with Gatland back at the helm, they'll be looking to rediscover their winning formula.
It's shaping up to be a tournament full of surprises and potential upsets. Before we get too carried away, though, there's one more team we need to talk about. Italy. They might just be the dark horse of the tournament.
Yes, Italy. Often overlooked, but under Kieran Crowley, they've been showing real signs of improvement. Remember that near win against France last year? They pushed the eventual champions all the way, and it felt like a real turning point for Italian rugby.
Yeah, that was a nail-biter. They've definitely got the talent and the passion.
Yeah.
And now it seems like they've got the belief, too. Do you think this could be the year they finally cause a major upset and break into the top half of the table?
I wouldn't rule it out. Crowley has brought a fresh perspective and a new style of play. They're playing with more confidence, expressing themselves on the field. And that makes them a much more dangerous opponent. They could be the wild card that throws the whole tournament wide open.
Okay, so we've talked about the aging champions, the rising stars, and the potential for some big upsets. And as we head into the final stretch of this Six Nations deep dive, I'm feeling this real buzz like something special is about to happen.
I know what you mean. It's that amazing atmosphere you get with the Six Nations, all that history and passion and incredible talent coming together. And this year, it feels like there are even more storylines and possibilities than usual.
So we've gone through, each team looked at their strengths and weaknesses. But when you look at the tournament as a whole, how do you think it's going to play out? Any bold predictions?
Well, based on everything we've talked about and what the Rugby Pass article is saying, it's looking like one of the most unpredictable Six Nations in years. Ireland might have an aging squad, but they've still got that champions mindset. France have their unique style and those world-class players. And Scotland, with their newfound confidence and attacking flair, could be the surprise package.
So you're saying there's no clear favorite?
Exactly. It's anyone's game, and that's what makes it so exciting. It's going to come down to who can handle the pressure, who can take their chances, and who can adapt as the tournament goes on.
Yeah, it's like a game of chess where every move matters. Are there any particular matches you're looking forward to? Any big rivalries or clashes of styles that could be decisive?
Oh, for sure. The one that jumps out at me is Scotland versus Ireland. It's always a fiery encounter, and with Scotland playing so well and Ireland maybe having a few weaknesses, it could be a really important game for the title race.
That's definitely one to watch. And of course, we can't forget the Calcutta Cup between England and Scotland. A rivalry that goes back over 100 years. The history, the passion, the intensity of that match, it always gives me goosebumps.
The Calcutta Cup is truly special, isn't it? It reminds us that rugby is about so much more than just the game itself. It's about tradition and national pride and the incredible bond between players and fans.
Couldn't have put it better myself. So as we wrap up this Six Nations preview, I think one thing is clear. We're in for an absolute treat. It's going to be a tournament full of drama and upsets and moments of brilliance that we'll be talking about for years to come. Who's going to win it all? We'll have to wait and see, but I guarantee it's going to be an unforgettable ride.
I completely agree. The stage is set, the players are ready, and the excitement is building. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
And that brings us to the end of our Six Nations deep dive. We hope you enjoyed this journey into one of rugby's greatest tournaments. If you're as excited for the kickoff as we are, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and become part of the Rugby Obsession family. We'll be bringing you all the latest news analysis and insights throughout the Six Nations and beyond.
We'll be back soon with more rugby deep dives, so stay tuned.
And a huge thank you to all of you for listening to Rugby Obsession. We'll look forward to you joining us for our next episode, where we'll be exploring another fascinating part of the rugby world. Until then, keep that passion for the game burning bright.